Have you ever made a mistake so embarrassing that you wished the earth would just swallow you whole? Well, let me tell you about a girl whose one small mistake completely rewrote her destiny. And before I reveal her unbelievable journey, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel because the twist at the end is something you do not want to miss. So, here's the story. Her name was Isla, a sweet, hard-working young woman in her mid-20s who had been struggling for months. She worked long shifts at a small bookstore, barely making enough to pay rent and send a little money back to her sick mother. Life was hard, but she never lost her kindness. One day, her best friend insisted she try something new. Online blind dating. Come on, Isla, her friend said. It's just $5 for a coffee date. What do you have to lose? Reluctantly, Isla agreed and booked a simple blind date at a cozy cafe in the city. The plan was simple. Meet a guy who, according to the app, worked as a clerk at a hardware shop. Nothing fancy, just two ordinary people looking for company. But fate had something entirely different in mind. The day arrived and Isla dressed modestly in a light blue dress, her hair tied back in a loose braid. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She simply wanted to show up and give it a chance. At the cafe, she walked in nervously, scanning the tables for someone who looked like the photos she had seen on the app. That's when her eyes landed on a man seated near the window. He looked slightly older than expected, in his early 30s, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a crisp white shirt and black slacks. His dark hair was neatly styled, and there was an air of quiet strength in the way he carried himself. He was sipping coffee, eyes deep in thought, almost as if the world outside didn't matter. Layla's heart skipped a beat. He must be the one, she thought. Without hesitation, she walked over and smiled nervously. Hi, I'm Layla. You must be Ahmed. The man looked up momentarily surprised. His piercing brown eyes softened as he took in her shy expression. Yes, Ahmed, he said after a pause as though testing the word on his tongue. He gestured for her to sit. From the very first moment, something felt different. This wasn't awkward or dull like she feared. It was magnetic. They talked for hours. Isla shared stories about her bookstore job, her mother, and her dreams of one day becoming a writer. Ahmed listened with genuine interest, asking questions, smiling warmly. But whenever Isla tried to ask about him, he kept his answers short, brushing aside questions about his work. He only said he had a business that kept him busy and that he had a little boy he adored more than anything in the world. The more they spoke, the more Isla found herself drawn to his quiet strength, the way he listened, the gentleness in his voice. By the time they finished their meal, Isla's cheeks hurt from smiling so much. It felt too good to be true. But when the waiter brought the bill, everything changed. Isla instinctively reached into her bag to pull out her $5 bill, ready to pay her share. That's when she froze. The bill wasn't $5. It was over $200. Shocked, Isla looked at the table. She hadn't even noticed how much food and dessert had been ordered. Before she could panic, Ahmed slipped his card onto the tray with a calm smile. Don't worry, it's on me, he said. That's when Isla noticed something strange. The card wasn't an ordinary debit card. It was a black exclusive credit card. Only the wealthiest people carried those. Her heart dropped. Who was this man? She quickly excused herself and stepped outside, fumbling for her phone. She checked the dating app again. Her blind date, the real Ahmed, was still online, messaging her, asking where she was because he couldn't find her at the cafe. That's when the truth hit her like thunder. She had sat at the wrong table. She hadn't been with a $5 blind date. She had spent hours with a millionaire. Her heart raced with embarrassment and fear. She had opened her heart, shared her personal struggles, laughed like a child, and all with the wrong man. She felt like running away and never looking back. But when she turned around, the mysterious man stepped outside, his eyes catching hers with a look she couldn't read. He wasn't angry. He wasn't mocking her. If anything, his eyes carried a softness as though he already knew the mistake she had made. And in that moment, fate tied their stories together in a way Layla could never imagine. Isla wanted to apologize, to explain everything. But before she could, the man smiled and said, "You don't have to explain. I enjoyed our time more than you know." His voice carried a warmth that melted her panic. But still her mind spun. He was clearly wealthy, successful, far above her simple life. Why would someone like him spend hours with a girl like her? She forced a smile and said goodbye, promising herself she'd forget this encounter. Yet that night, lying in her tiny apartment, she couldn't stop replaying his words, his smile, the way he had looked at her as though she was the only person in the room. Days turned into weeks. Isla tried to push him out of her mind. But destiny had other plans. One rainy evening, as she closed the bookstore, she heard a child's laughter nearby. Looking up, she saw a little boy splashing in puddles, dark hair, bright eyes, full of life. And behind him, holding an umbrella, was the same man from the cafe. Her heart stopped. He looked just as surprised to see her. The boy ran up to Isla, holding out a soggy paper plane. "Hi, do you want to play?" His innocence broke all barriers, and soon Isla found herself laughing with the boy as they tossed paper planes under the rain. The man watched silently, a soft smile tugging at his lips. Later, he walked her home, and under that single umbrella, he finally revealed the truth. His name was indeed Achmed, but not the Achmed she had been matched with on the app. He was a businessman, a millionaire by fortune, but a single dad by choice, raising his son alone after losing his wife years ago. His world was full of riches, yet empty of genuine companionship until her mistake brought her into his life. Layla was stunned. She didn't know whether to feel embarrassed or grateful. But as days turned into meetings and meetings into long walks, she realized something. Achmed never treated her as less. He never flaunted his wealth. Instead, he valued her laughter, her honesty, her kindness. He loved the way she connected with his son, how she brought warmth into their quiet home. For the first time in years, Achmed felt alive again. But just when their bond grew stronger, reality came crashing in. Isla overheard some relatives of Achmed whispering cruel words. "She's just after his money. A bookstore girl doesn't belong in his world." Their voices cut her like knives. She began to withdraw, fearing she would ruin his reputation, fearing she wasn't enough. One evening, she told Achmed through tears, "I was never supposed to be in your world. It was all a mistake and I don't want to be the reason people look down on you." Achmed took her trembling hands and said firmly, "Lila, that mistake was the best thing that ever happened to me. You gave me back life. You gave my son a reason to laugh again. And if the world can't see your worth, then they're blind." His voice carried such conviction that it broke through her doubts. Slowly, she realized that love was never about wealth or status. It was about hearts recognizing each other in the unlikeliest of ways. Their story blossomed. Stronger than whispers, stronger than fear. The millionaire and the bookstore girl brought together by a $5 blind date mistake that turned into the love of a lifetime. And so, dear viewers, remember this. Sometimes what feels like the biggest mistake can lead you straight into your destiny. If you believe love can find you in the most unexpected ways, then like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories that will touch your heart. Because Layla's story proves one thing. Sometimes the wrong table can lead you to the right person forever.